Greetings and welcome to DORAGONS Domain, episode 18. I am Dorgan Kishu, Paladin and Dragon Rider. This episode is about my FROST RHEALM Module that I'm working on. FROST RHEALM is a homebrew creation that I did when I initially started this season several months back. I started a series on Homebrew Creation. I created a land called Despa. I will put the link down to those videos and also some blog posts about Despa. That was a land I actually created. The second thing I created was FROST RHEALM, and that was more of an adventure. It's an ice fortress, and it's located in an area called the TRIGON, which is in between three mountains called the WARLORDS Peaks, which is surrounded by the frost ice wastelands of Scre'er. I'll put all the links to those three videos down below. They also include when I was creating the dungeon, which is below FROST RHEALM. After FROST RHEALM, I moved on to Dark Plane, and then I started Shadows, which is a homebrew Thieves guild, but I never went into the second part of that because I had been considering maybe publishing some of my homebrew stuff. It's been asked by some people, and I thought about it, but the main thing is that I don't want Dungeons and Dragons to become a job. This is Dungeons and Dragons is a passion, has been for years, and I want it to be something that I can do and go. It's not as much an escape, like an escape from reality for me right now, or in general. I know it can be an escape, but it's something I feel it's something you can pour every ounce of your creativity into without restriction for the most part. Yeah, so but as time has gone by, I considered more and more making it into a module. So then once I decided I'd kind of inch my way in that direction. Well, let me back up. There's a couple areas that I was a little hesitant about. First of all, I was new to 5e. I've mentioned in most of my videos that I am a player, I am a paladin in a weekly group, but I haven't DM'd a 5e game yet. The majority of my Dungeons and Dragons experience has been dungeon mastering, so I've also mentioned many times. And I did purchase recently the Dungeon Master's Guide for 5e. I only had the players, so I did start reading Chapter 8 and learning some things. And so when I thought about doing a module, I really feel I need to have an understanding of 5e, right? As a dungeon master, not just a player. So I've been studying that on and off. Right. So the two things that I was concerned about and hesitant about doing it was that I didn't want it to become a job, and that I wasn't familiar enough with the 5e rules to really do it without asking someone else to help me a lot. I've talked to different people. I've thought about working with some people in certain things, but I'm mostly trying to do it on my own. Unless I was paying people, it's a different deal. But when you're asking people to help, and I know that the Dungeons and Dragons community is amazing, and they have helped me with during the filming, during all the homebrews that I've created on DORAGONS Domain. They've helped me with names, and I hit them up on Twitter and asked them for help with names and things like that. I'm not always great with coming up with names, and it's also fun to get to keep community involved and be involved with the community and be part of the community. Yeah, so I was only worried about it being a job and then not knowing the rules. So that said, I'm learning the rules, and I'm just kind of inching my way with it. Before I started DORAGONS Domain, I got back into Dungeons and Dragons, not playing yet, but I started to create some homebrew content. I've mentioned this before too, and I asked a guy that associate of mine that I was kind of becoming friends with. I asked him if he'd considered dungeon mastering. He started dungeon, so he said he didn't have time to homebrew, so I gave him the material I created. I think it's called TCH'AHM now, is the name that he came up with, and I'll put down information about that, what I have on that too. But yeah, so he's taken some of my homebrew stuff and created this whole adventure, and that's what I do weekly. So I recognize some stuff, but he's altering a lot of it too, making it his own. So also, some of the dungeon masters that I interact with, a couple of them were inspired by some of my homebrew stuff. One of them created their own ice adventure, and his own thing, though he wasn't using detailed stuff from mine, but he said he was inspired partially, I believe, from Frost Realm. And then another great guy, was inspired by Darkplane. One aspect of it, he kind of incorporated some kind of likeness to it, not exact, but in his campaign. I watched those sessions, and it was really amazing to see what they did on their own, and even if I had anything to do with any of the inspiration behind it. But like, you know, I thought that it would be good if I want people to actually play Frost Realm. The best way probably would be to either do a module or come up with everything and just put it all on blog posts. Yeah, so anyway, I've been inching towards the module. I contacted an artist. I'm trying to figure out if I need to come up with some money for the art for it, because once again, I don't know if I want to ask the community for that, and I don't know if they'd want to anyway. To actually do drawings, I'm not an artist in that way, but I think it takes a lot of time and energy, and I'm not sure if I want people doing it that aren't being paid for it. So if that's the case, I will have to figure out a way to generate some money for that. Yeah, contacted one, and then but I'll be continuing to try to figure that out. I know I want at least 5 drawings for Frost Realm. It would be great to have more. I also, 2 of the DMs actually the 2 that were inspired by some of the stuff I've done, I also asked those 2 DMs if they would read the content that I have up to now. I took everything that I created during that time I was making those 3 vlogs, plus, I'm skipping a step. I purchased a module. I always did homebrews as a dungeon master, so I'm not familiar with modules. I've always thought it would be fun to be ran through one. I was never drawn to run one, although it'd probably be fun too. Yeah, so I bought a module, kind of just to get an idea of some of the framework involved with the modules, and then I started to. My module is structured a little bit differently, but I started to kind of sort of, you know, fill in the blanks in the layout a little bit with my own stuff. Some of it came from the 3 videos I did, some of it I had to create. Yeah, so I had these 2 guys read all the content I have so far, and I got really great feedback from each of them. Here is the feedback I got from these guys. Frost Realm was originally conceived, and I originally thought of it as an 8th level adventure. And then after I was creating it, I realized a lot of the creatures that I like are actually lower level, and I was thinking, you know, like Gnolls and Goblins and Orcs. And I was going to do it, include 5th level stats and 8th level stats. But the more I worked on it, I felt like I really should just do 1, and you know, DMs can adjust the level, adjust what's inside it and all of the dungeon inside the fortress and all that, you know, as they like. But then I got familiar, then I was made aware of CR from the 5e rules, and I started looking at the creature. I started looking at the different power of everything that I had so far, and it really ran like level 3 to level 11 as far as like what level parties could be going. So I got to figure that out, because like I said, a lot of the creatures I like are kind of lower level. I have hybrids as well, which can be higher level. I'll figure it out. I also did some practice play with my girlfriend, who is in my 5e group. We just took literally the 3rd, she has a 3rd level barbarian, I have a 3rd level paladin, and then there's an NPC that is one of the possible things that happen in the module. You could end up interacting with this NPC. So we took the NPC with us, which was a level 5 ranger, and we just cruised into the Wastelands of Scre'er, and we started doing some battling. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get that far, but so that was good. I've mentioned before, but orcs are my favorite creature in Dungeons and Dragons. Orcs and dragons. I mean, maybe that seems obvious, but there's something that I just love about the basicness of orcs. And I was not even a big fan of the orcs in the Lord of the Rings movies, the first 3. I didn't see the Hobbit ones. I saw like one of them. But I wasn't even a fan of the way they looked, or I just didn't care for them. But the way I think of orcs, I think of them as a real traditional villain or bad guy. So in the past in homebrews, I created hybrids of orcs because I liked them so much, and I didn't just want the green ones, right? and I'm very color is very important to me. So I created blue orcs, white orcs, black orcs, red orcs, and they all are different. And I'm thinking I might even publish something about just the hybrid orcs sometime, but not right now. In a nutshell, the white ones are Arctic, and they are hunters in neutral alignment. The blue ones are Arctic too, but they're warriors and they don't like other orcs, and they're different than the white ones. The white ones are almost more like mercenaries, or like I said, they're neutral, so either side can probably work with them. But the red orcs are kind of like the engineers, the ones that run the ballistas or the catapults. They're maybe comparable to like dwarves in a certain way. They just love building things. They're not into. I don't believe that they're evil. I don't remember, but I don't have all the stats down. But yeah, but those are cool. But they're smarter and stronger than an average orc. So are the white ones, so are the blue ones. The black ones are the chaotic, lawful. Sorry, strike that. Lawful, evil. They're very honorable. Honor before evil. To be honest with you. So they're not gonna stab you in the back in battle. They will. You know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, they're very honorable. They're higher level. They're the strongest. They're the smartest. They're often generals in evil armies, but they are not ambitious enough to be like rulers. But they are great leaders of armies, etc. So yeah, some of those characters are going to be in this, and like I said, at some point I'll probably publish something just about the hybrid orcs. But I have more than that. I have hybrid goblins and hybrid gnolls in this. One of the things that Hans mentioned, he's one of the 2 DMs that I had read my content. I need to go into the dungeons and or the fortress and get some motivation, put in some motivations for the creatures and for the NPCs that are within. It's just something I haven't done yet, but it was a very good thing for him to mention, and it's something because I've been so focused on other things. And then it's something that Dave mentioned, Azul. He said Frost Realm, the name might sound kind of more like a campaign than an adventure, which I still have him thinking about. I'm trying to figure that out because it's the name of the ice fortress that Prince Tarov lives in. But I can see it. It reminds me of a campaign myself. I've thought that myself. I think it can kind of go each way. Into Frost Realm, you could add things like that. But any feedback about that, you guys are welcome to throw at me here or on Twitter. But I'm still trying to figure that out. I love the name Frost Realm with an H. But I am open to if I can come up with a cool name that makes it sound maybe a little bit more like an adventure. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at with my Frost Realm module. It's going to take time, and I'm still figuring it out, and I have to make that final decision to actually publish it. But at this point, I'm still kind of working on the content and see how it goes. Yes, it's definitely going to be. I mean, maybe I'm not sure how it'll come out, but it is going to be my first module. So I'm not. If it's not perfect or great, oh well. It still hopefully will have enough in it that is good and inspiring and usable. Or maybe people will really like it, but I think it's the same with anything. There's going to be something like it, some don't. But anyway, just kind of wanted to. It was actually Dave that asked me if I was going to do a video about basically the process of creating this module, and I hadn't quite gotten there, and I may have gotten there, but I don't know. And I appreciated his input because I've kind of been wrapped up in learning 5e and working on the content, and I've been doing less videos. And my last video had to do with more than just the Dungeons and Dragons things. It had to do with my overall creative self from age 8 to 48, because I am actually 48. Yeah, that's my previous one. I can put a link to that too. That's Who is James Mahoney. I had done Who is Doragon Kishu prior, which had more just to do with my D&D. So, but anyway, enough of all that. I appreciate you checking out Doragon's Domain as usual, and I will see you in Twitter.